Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for being here this morning. I know that it's a little bit nippy, so we're going to try and get everyone in and out of here and get everyone informed about what's going on. My name is Fong Law. I'm the chairperson for the California Commission on API Affairs. I want to thank again all of you for spending this morning with us. The California Commission on API Affairs is responsible for informing the state legislature and the governor about those issues that are important to our API communities. In the past year and a half, we've gone up and down the state hosting community hearings and forums and workshops to uncover what is most important to our communities. And throughout the state, what we found was that data disaggregation was of most paramount importance to our communities. Data disaggregation is imperative for uncovering the social, economic, and educational disparities inherent not only in the API community, but in all ethnic communities. When we found out that the state of California does not disaggregate data when it comes to healthcare and higher education and K-12 education, we knew that something had to be done. We went to our champion of minority communities in the state legislature, Assemblymember Rob Bonta, to try and draft a bill that would take care of these needs. And ladies and gentlemen, Rob Bonta got the job done. He introduced a bill that's going to help all of our communities by requiring that the state of California disaggregate data when it comes to our community colleges, when it comes to our healthcare system. And so this morning, I'd like to introduce all of you to our Assembly member, Rob Bonta.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Rob Bonta. I'm honored to be here with you today. I represent the 18th Assembly District, which includes the great cities of Oakland, Alameda, and San Leandro. I apologize that we couldn't bring warmer weather this morning, and I appreciate you all being here today. I want to thank my colleagues in the legislature for your tremendous support and advocacy on this bill. I want to thank all of the tremendous community leaders and advocates who are standing with us, side by side, and behind us on this bill. I'm really excited about this bill, and just want to thank all of you for the tremendous momentum that we've already developed. And today, of course, we are announcing and discussing the introduction of AB 176, which will help address health and education disparities of ethnic subgroups within the greater API community. And to get a better sense of what we're talking about here, just take a moment to look around at the folks beside you, behind you, in front of you that are part of this special gathering today. And within those that are just gathered here today, we're able to identify the diversity of the API community simply by looking at those in the crowd here with us. And when you add that to those that you work with, that you go to school with, that you see in the grocery store and within the community, and multiply that by the hundreds of thousands that are in our state, you can just imagine how dramatic the diversity is statewide. And we all know that California is home to the nation's largest Asian American and second largest Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander populations. Data from the 2010 United States Census Bureau shows that California's Asian American population grew 34% between the 10 years 2000 to 2010, and the NHPI population grew by 29% during that same time. So from Hmong to Fijian to Vietnamese to Korean to Filipino to Tongan, and the list goes on, there are more than 23 distinct communities within the Asian American population and 19 within the Native Hawaiian and Pacific Islander population. And I would be remiss not to mention my own Filipino heritage. While Filipinos make up the largest Asian population in the state of California, until my election in 2012, there had never been a Filipino member in the California State Legislature. And I mentioned that to draw attention to the issue of why it's so important that I and we here today give voice to not just the Filipino American community, but all API subgroups who face challenges that are distinct and unique from the greater API population. And while all of us, as part of the API community, share common goals and struggles, our struggles and challenges are simply not always the same. The API community is not a monolith. We are not the same in every single respect. Each of our diverse communities has different social, economic, and educational challenges and outcomes that need to be addressed differently. And for all these reasons, it was important for me to introduce AB 176. AB 176 will require the State Department of Public Health and California's higher education institutions to use specified categories for each major Asian and Pacific Islander group. The bill further requires those entities, thank you, to make that data available to the public on their website and to be included in each demographic report regarding the ancestry or ethnic origin of those being served. And in closing, I just want to say I'm honored to introduce this important bill, which at once recognizes the great diversity of the Asian Pacific Islander groups, and most importantly, will help craft effective and appropriate solutions for the distinct ethnic subgroups within the greater API community. And that's what this is about. That's what our charge is as legislators, as members representing the great diversity of our state. We need to craft solutions that target and are appropriate and effective for those distinct communities that we represent. So I want to also just say how proud I am that this bill, at a very early stage, has the broad support of the Tri-Caucus community, of the Black Caucus and also the Latino Legislative Caucus. And now it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague and friend, Assemblymember Reggie Jones Sawyer, Chair of the Black Legislative Caucus.
Hey, Reggie. Oh, Reggie.
Good morning. My name is Reggie Jones Sawyer. I'm from Southern California, where it's about 80 degrees. So if you see my teeth chattering, it's because I come from warmer climates, and if it was this cold in LA, it would be a snow day. I too am very proud to be here today to support. Good. To support my colleague, Assemblymember Rob Bonta. The California Legislative Black Caucus understands the importance of AB 176. This measure is needed in order to improve service delivery within the API community. My home city of Los Angeles is home to the largest API population in the United States. Current data shows that this group, on average, far surpasses the rest of the state on important life indicators such as income and education. However, those who take a deeper look into this community often see a tale of two cities, particularly within the Southeast Asian and Pacific Islander population. These groups have very similar outcomes in higher education as African Americans, which, as many of you know, have the lowest college graduation rate within our public university system. By disaggregating the data, breaking it down, I had to learn what disaggregating meant too, we can better examine the true status of all groups within the API community and provide the services needed to best support these groups. The African American community shares the same concern because we still have problems of poverty, education, and jobs. Even within the African American community, when you start to drill down, especially in the Afro-Latino group, there are people from Belize, we have Panamanians, we have Costa Ricans, El Salvadorans, Cubans, Haitians, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, and Afro-Mexicans, who also are part of the same subgroup. And we need to go dig down deeper and deeper to see their needs too. And so we are proud to stand with our brothers in the API community to put forth this important legislation because it will help all of us understand what we need to do as far as providing services the most needed in our community. So I thank the API community for bringing it forward, and most important, I thank my brother in the struggle, Rob Bonta, for bringing this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Jones Sawyer. Next, I'd like to introduce, representing the Latino Legislative Caucus, Assemblymember Tony Thurmond.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bonta. As Assemblymember Tony Sawyer referenced, that there are many Latinos of African descent, and I happen to be one. My roots to Panama. But today, I'm honored to not only represent the Latino Caucus and to also second the words of Assemblymember Jones Sawyer on behalf of the African American Caucus. I'm honored here to be in solidarity with my family in the API Caucus. This is an issue of interest to all of us across various communities. And I want to thank Assemblymember Bonta for bringing this legislation forward, and we're honored to be able to support it. I represent the 15th Assembly District in the East Bay, cities of Berkeley and Richmond, and parts of Oakland. Assemblymember Bonta and I share Oakland in the Oakland School District in that Assembly District. And as a former school board member, I can't tell you how many times this very conversation about disaggregation of data would come up for us. We constantly talked about the achievement gap, that notion that African American students and Latino students were not faring as well as their Asian counterparts. But often what got lost in the conversation was the impact to many API students who also were not having the educational outcomes that we might want for them. In particular, Southeast Asian students who are represented at the West Contra Costa School District, and certainly worked with many students in Oakland Unified School District. So it is from that personal experience that I am honored to support the work of Mr. Bonta to be able to disaggregate the data so that we can use that data as a tool to make sure that API students have the best possible health and education outcomes, and to take that same data and to use it wherever we can to make sure that not only API students and families have the best outcomes, but all students and families have the best outcomes. As you look at our wonderful diversity today, here and there, you see that this is an opportunity for the API community, certainly for the Latino community and for the African American community, and for all of us in California. So thank you, Assemblymember Bonta, for your leadership. We look forward to our continued work together. Thank you very much.
Thank you again to my colleague and friend and fellow East Bay legislator Tony Thurman for those remarks. Now, I just want to take a moment to say that a lot of the work that we do as legislators is based on the foundation of work that was done before us. And this is an issue that we're talking about today regarding disaggregated data that has been around for some time, and other legislators have spent time working on this issue and made great progress. And I have the honor to introduce one of those tremendous leaders today. In the past, Assemblymember Mike Ng passed AB 1088, which helped pave the way for introduction of AB 176. AB 1088 was signed by Governor Brown in 2011. It required the Department of Industrial Relations and the Department of Fair Employment and Housing to collect the same ethnic data as the U.S. Census. The benefits of AB 1088 were tremendous, giving legislators, policymakers, foundations, government agencies, and community groups access to critical information to better and more effectively serve the API community. So I'm honored to have the opportunity to personally thank Assemblymember Ng for his leadership and to introduce him today to make a few remarks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and all of you. Let me tell you why your presence here is so important. All of you, the folks standing behind the lectern, standing in front of the lectern. You are so important today because once again we stand at a crossroads. And the issue is this: if you don't know who you serve, you don't know how to serve. If you don't know who you serve, you don't know where to spend the scarce resources. And these were the arguments that persuaded the legislature, as Chairman Bonta said, to pass and sign AB 1088. You know, at first it was very difficult to go up to a legislator, to go up to the governor, and to go up to anyone and say, do you believe in disaggregation? Because most of us couldn't even spell the word. So let me tell you what we said. We said, imagine if you took all the breast cancer rates for men and women and you combined them together. And if you did that, you would find that there is no problem of breast cancer in America. And it's only when you disaggregate, when you separate men and women's rates of breast cancer, do you find that the men's good health cancels out the alarming and dangerous health risks to women that are threatening their lives each and every day. That's what disaggregation means. Disaggregation can save lives. And so, it's only when you disaggregate educational data that you realize that many Pacific Islanders drop out of K-12, that don't achieve a degree, or don't transfer at the community college to Cal, or even move to Cal State or the UCs. that the rates of non-student success are very similar to Latinos and African Americans. And so in those two areas, this is why I support Assemblyman Banta's AB 176, because it expands on our bill, which only covered 2 California departments, to both the health and higher education and K-12. Also, I want to thank my Assembly member, Ed Chow, who's been an incredible supporter of disaggregation. Thank you, and I got to pay homage to him, otherwise they won't let me on the Southwest flight back home. And so, in conclusion, if you want to promote better access to health care, better access to education, support AB 176. Say it, AB 176. Why do we support AB 176? Because it puts APIs in the mix. Thank you very much.
Now, we've got some community folks and some education folks here as well to tell you why this is important, and the fact that we have broad support on this bill, especially from higher education. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Janet Jackson and President Frank Chong.
Good morning. I'd also like to bring up another CEO, Dr. Robert Miller, who is with the Pasadena Community College. First of all, thank you all for braving the cold weather and being here. I'm from Alameda, the home of Representative Bonta, and trust me, it's a lot warmer in Alameda than it is here. So thank you for being here. As Chief Executive Officer representing community colleges, our system, made up of 72 districts and 112 colleges, is the largest in the nation. If you add all of the students that go to school at our community colleges and put together the UC system and the CSU system, we are far and above the greater enrolling. We have 2.6 million students that attend community colleges in California, and we have the data. And one of the things that our Chancellor, Bryce Harris, has been asking us to do with our scorecard is to look at data so that we can make informed decisions. If you don't have the data to make those decisions may be flawed. It seems so logical to me that AB 176 should have been law years ago, but it isn't. And sometimes we do need a nudge from our legislators to do the right thing. We have the data, we need to use the data, and then that will help to inform and make the right decisions. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your broad support. It's something that is greatly needed. Thank you.
My name's Frank Chong with Santa Rosa Junior College, and I had the honor of working in the Obama administration in Washington a few years ago. And this is a federal issue. It's not just it's a national issue. So I'm so proud of my legislators behind me for taking the leadership to taking it to the state level. We should be a model, as we always are, for other states to follow. And it just reminds me of Martin Luther King said, we all came from different ships, but we're now all in the same boat. You know, so this is a real recognition of the unity between all the different communities of color working together. I'm so proud and honored to be part of this. Thank you very much.
I'll just briefly add on behalf of Pasadena City College. We have over 30,000 students who come to our college every year, and of that 30,000, 24% and growing are what we used to call Asian American and Pacific Islander population, or API, but as has been so well pointed out today, it's much more than that. So on behalf of our Board of Trustees and our college, I want to give great thanks to our elected officials here, and certainly our trustee, Linda Waugh, for bringing to the attention of the general population the absolute importance of this issue, and that we continue to be behind it 100% to do everything we can to help this move forward. Thank you very much.
And now we also have Jonathan Tran from the Southeast Asian Resource Center.
First of all, thank you, Bong and the Commission, for their tremendous work in leadership position in making this bill possible. Also, thank you to the members of the legislature, really for stepping up and showing the leadership and to Assemblymember Bonta for carrying the mantle of disaggregated data, and also for being one of the very few Asian Americans on the Assembly Select Committee on Boys and Men of Color. My name is Jonathan Tran, and I am actually alumni of Pasadena City College, so proud community college student. But I'm also here on behalf of the Southeast Asia Resource Action Center. We're a national nonprofit organization that advocates on behalf of Southeast Asian Americans all throughout the United States. But here in particular in California, we have the largest population of Southeast Asian Americans anywhere in the country. And on top of that, California is home to the largest population of refugees anywhere in the world. And I'm thrilled and incredibly privileged to be standing alongside a Latino, African American, and Pacific Islander brothers and sisters to wholeheartedly support AB 176, a landmark bill that will build on the trailblazing data collection policies that truly distinguishes California. My executive director, Quinn Din, often says that data has the power to reveal and the power to conceal. Indeed, for far too long in California, the true challenges of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have been masked by homogeneous immensity, diversity, and homogenizing the diversity within our community. AB 176 is California's opportunity to celebrate our diversity and brings communities together to recognize a common struggle. For anybody that wonders if disaggregated data works, there's already a sample of how disaggregated data has benefited our community. And you need not look any further than down the street at Sacramento State University. Just 2 years ago, after disaggregating the Asian demographic, school administrators that hidden within the massive other Asian category were over 900 Hmong students. The data has the power to reveal. The new data revealed that to administrators that Hmong students represented the second largest Asian American population on campus. Soon after, faculty, administrators, and students began to collaborate to ensure that support systems were in place for one of the country's largest Hmong American student populations. In a few years, retention and graduation rates among Hmong American students here at Sac State is among the highest in the country, and that's made possible by disaggregated data. While data also has the power to reveal, it also has the power to conceal. On a very personal note, about 6 years ago, my mom was diagnosed with hepatitis C. She's a tremendous woman that escaped war-torn Vietnam and spent a year in a refugee camp in Malaysia. Unfortunately, with hepatitis C, it requires regular checkups and constant prevention. Under the status quo, my mom would just be another tally mark in the Asian demographic. Thanks to efforts by researchers and community-based organizations, we know that Southeast Asian Americans have overwhelmingly higher levels of liver disease, much higher than any race or ethnicity. But without AB 176, without true disaggregated data on a departmental level, we won't know how many Southeast Asian Americans are enrolled in Medi-Cal, and we won't know how much of the millions of dollars that are invested in chronic disease prevention actually gets to the communities that need them the most, to the families that need it the most, to the loved ones that need them the most. And with that, I am incredibly encouraged by the leadership of the legislature and strongly believe that we can truly make disaggregated data happen for the health and the safety of our loved ones. Thank you so much.
We have one more community speaker, and then we'll get to our state assembly members. I'd like to introduce from Advancing Justice, Layman Martires.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Layman Murtaza, and I'm the policy advocate for Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Sacramento, a partnership of Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Asian Law Caucus, and Asian Americans Advancing Justice, Los Angeles. Advancing Justice advocates for the civil and human rights of Asian Americans and other undeserved communities to promote a fair and equitable society for all. Advancing Justice commends Assemblymember Bonta for introducing AB 176, building on the leadership of Assemblymember Mike Amy and his important legislation, AB 1088. In recognizing that the real experiences and needs of diverse Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities, excuse me, so cold. In recognizing that the real experiences and needs of diverse Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander communities can be understood and accurately reflected in public policy only when data is disaggregated by ethnic group. AB 176 is a critical and necessary step by requiring disaggregation of data for Asian, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander ethnic groups relating to education and health. By requiring disaggregation of ethnic group data by public higher education institutions in California, AB 176 would enable policymakers to address the barriers to educational access and attainment faced by specific Asian American and ethnic groups. Advancing Justice is proud to work with Assemblymember Mike Dean in advocating for the passage of AB 1088. We also look forward to working with Assemblymember Rob Bonta, the API Legislative Caucus, APIA Commission, and all of our community partners to support the passage and enactment of AB 176.
Excited and honored and thankful that two of my colleagues from the API Legislative Caucus are here as well to join us and make a few remarks. I'd like to invite Assemblymember David Chu to make a few remarks.
Good morning, API California. Thank you for being part of the amazing beauty that is the API California community across our state. I want to welcome everyone to warm and balmy Sacramento. I'm David Chu, and I represent the eastern half of San Francisco. My district includes the oldest Chinatown in the United States. It also includes Japantown. It includes the International Hotel in former Manilatown. We have a thriving Samoan community, Korean community, Little Saigon, and others. Last year in San Francisco, because government wasn't collecting disaggregated information about our API communities, a coalition of 29 community-based organizations came together to gather this data. And we learned that just in San Francisco, 90% of our Samoan community lives in low-income housing. We learned that over the last 8 years, poverty has increased within the API community by 44%. Over the past decade, HIV and AIDS cases have more than doubled. We know that APIs in San Francisco have lower rates of using healthcare, and many of our services don't offer critically, culturally sensitive care. You've heard why AB 176 is critical. We know it will provide the necessary data that we need to understand our communities. And we know that if you can't measure it, you can't address it, you can't celebrate it. And so I very much want to thank Rob Bonta and his leadership. I want to thank our honorary Asian brothers, Tony Thurman and Reggie Jones Sawyer. I want to thank all of you for being part of this, and to echo Mike Yang in a slightly different way. We need AB 176 because we need to know what to fix. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Chu. Next we have, to make a few remarks, Assemblymember Ed Chow.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ed Chow. I represent the 49th Assembly District, in which Asian Pacific Islanders constitute about 53% of my district's population. I want to start off by thanking Assemblyman Mike Yang, my predecessor, for carrying 1088 and laying the foundation for all of us, and I want to thank Assemblymember Rob Bonta for picking up the baton. As we heard earlier, the API community is definitely very diverse and not homogeneous. I don't know if you know this, but within the group itself, we have some of the greatest needs. For example, some of the highest poverty level and some of the lowest educational attainments in California are in fact concentrated in this particular group. Similarly, overall we have a very low mortality rate from homicides, but particularly ethnic groups, including Cambodians and Vietnamese, have raised it up 2 to 4 times greater than the average. In the healthcare arena, for example, specific API ethnic groups are more likely to face certain conditions, a fact that is masked when looking only at the overall data for all APIs. For example, Vietnamese, Native Hawaiians, and Pacific Islanders experience frequent mental distress at higher rates than other API groups. Yet these Vietnamese represent the highest proportion of insured California who are without mental health coverage. So I'm here to support AB 176, and I hope you do the same. Thank you.
Okay, that is the last of our speakers. Since AB 176 is a bill about education and health outcomes in the interest of all of our collective health and warmth, I'm going to end the press conference. But I am going to be available, and others, if you are able to, be available for any follow-up questions from members of the press and others who are interested. So I want to just thank you for being here. I look forward to getting AB 176 across the finish line and signed by the governor. Thank you.